In this session, I'm going to discuss a model question regarding coral reef. It's actually a very important topic. It's in news. The question is like this: the Great Barrier Reef is in Australia is witnessing an unprecedented die-off. Discuss. Now, unlike the other questions, like we cannot actually directly break down the question, right? So it's a kind of discuss kind of question, and your perspective is being asked. So what you have to do there here, actually, if you look at this statement, what is it? Why this Great Barrier Reef is dying off? And if you are bringing up such issue, we have to bring their solutions. So the important subheadings in this regarding this question is actually the causes of this dying off and what are the solutions. Okay, so let's see a model answer or a general structure for the model answer. Now let's start with the introduction. What you can write in the introduction, you can start by saying what is coral reef, and you can go to the topic like Great Barrier Reef. I mean, what is happening there. Okay, so what is coral reef? They are skeletons of stony coral polyps which are cemented together, and like they will be having an algae which is called as zooxanthellae. So these both points you can bring up in your answer, but it shouldn't take much word. You have to keep word limit in mind, and with one line or at maximum 2 lines you have to address what is coral reef. And in order to, in order to stress on the point that the Great Barrier Reef is witnessing dying off, you can mention the UNESCO's case. UNESCO has already issued a warning regarding this unprecedented dying off in the Great Barrier Reef, mainly due to the coral bleaching or sustained coral bleaching. Okay, so this 3 points you can bring up in the introduction, and the main subheading should be the causes which is resulting in this unprecedented dying off. First one, climate change. Due to climate change, actually climate change is directly and indirectly affecting this dying off in various manner. One, you can bring up their ocean acidification. With the burning of more fossil fuels, more carbon dioxide is being emitted in the atmosphere, and this carbon dioxide ends up in the oceans, making the oceans acidic. And ocean acidification is not conducive for coral reef. They need saline water to survive. Then sea level rise. If the sea level is rising up, the corals need shallow water to survive, right? They cannot survive up to a particular depth, say 100 meter or 200 meter. They cannot survive in such depths. If sea level rise is there, the corals will perish. Then next, unsustainable fishing practices. If you are using trolling, or if you are using dynamite or like cyanide, these kind of unsustainable fishing practices will result in coral bleaching as well as corals dying off. And then pollution. It's actually general point like pollution. The thing here is suppose in the shore coastlines or shorelines, if you are doing more construction activities, which is resulting in more sediments being deposited into the ocean water. These sediments, they will block the sunlight. Corals need sunlight to survive. Okay, it's ideal conditions. They need sunlight. That's why they cannot. They're not seen over such depths. Okay, they need sunlight to survive as well as they need survive on the shallow water. So that sediments point you can bring up here, as well as surface runoff. What I mean here, suppose if you are using more fertilizers for the agriculture purpose, and if this water they will end up in the oceans, if they end up in the reef water, this will create more algae or more other organisms will start to bloom in this reef water, which is not conducive for again coral reef. As well as if you are not treating the water properly, if the sewage is running into the reef water, again the same thing happens. So one dimension there is of pollution. You can interlink it with the construction sediments, surface runoff, agriculture runoff, things like that. The next, this feature is specifically in the case of Great Barrier Reef, invasive species. And the invasive species, there is crown of thorns, starfish, as well as you can use landfish also, the term. Okay, so what it does is actually if you are having invasive species, the corals will die off. The more nutrients the invasive species will be using, so that the habitat of the coral reef will be destroyed. Then next, weather events. Okay, weather events like El Nino as well as the tropical cyclone Debbie. Again, this point is specifically in the case of coral reef. So if we are having more El Nino event, sustained El Nino event, what happens is that throughout the globe itself coral bleaching will be there, as well as in the case of Great Barrier Reef. And in the case of tropical cyclone Debbie, I mean, it has resulted in sustained coral bleaching. Okay, this actually coral bleaching means due to these reasons the algae will leave the coral reef or the corals, and their color, I mean like they are normally colorful, and if the algae leave them, they will become whitish in color or they will get bleached. And if coral bleaching is being sustained for different seasons, I mean like if it is being sustained for longer period, it will end up, or the corals will end up dying. So sustained coral bleaching will result in the corals dying off, and they won't be able to come back into the or regain their previous shape. Okay, next point you can bring up there, or you can say next aspect, human intrusion, in the sense like unsustainable tourism, or like exploiting the coral reef for the occupation purpose. These kind of things, I mean, add more pressure on the coral reef, which results in their dying off. Okay, so these are the general causes or the important causes which you can use, I mean, which results in the corals dying off in the Great Barrier Reef. Here, like specifically, I mean like the invasive species as well as tropical cyclone Debbie is specifically in the case of this Great Barrier Reef. Other points you can even mention it in the case of like a general question related with coral reef. Okay, now let's see the solutions. Okay, again, like if you have bringing certain causes or issues, while writing solutions, what you have to keep in mind, our solution should be in such a manner that it is addressing all the issues we have brought up. Okay, first solution you can say empower the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. I mean, it's kind of solution related with legal aspect. It's under this Great Barrier Reef, they are under like the Queensland Authority, their state government there. Okay, so empowering this Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority, I mean like they will be able to take more proactive steps in protecting the Great Barrier Reef. Okay, then managing crown of the thorn starfish, it needs more investment. You know, specifically we have to manage this invasive species. Again, this is from the perspective of GBR. Then stricter environmental regulation. Under this, it will take care of the unsustainable fishing activities as well as like the surface runoff or like excessive use of fertilization and the untreated sewage water getting drained to the reef water. These kind of activities can be solved if we are having, you know, more stricter environmental regulation. Then another very important aspect, climate change. You know, actually the climate change is resulting in this coral bleaching as well as corals dying off, and in order to solve them, we need to abide by the Paris Agreement. In the sense like if you look at the Australia's, I mean, emission reduction target, they are not that much ambitious. Okay, so they need to take an ambitious target regarding the Paris Agreement. Then only they can expect other nations to take ambitious targets. No, in order to solve this problem of climate change, it's very important in the perspective of solving this issue of Great Barrier Reef. So they should actually come up with more, I mean like more ambitious target. Then only they can expect other nations to follow the suit. Now, regulating unsustainable tourism. Again, we have brought up that issue, so that I mean like tourism activities, like they can, I mean like if the people step over them, it will die off. Okay, that those kind of activities can be avoided so that it will reduce the pressure on coral reef. Then maintaining water quality near the reef. Okay, either the pollution aspect as well as the surface runoff, these things will be taken care if we are investing in more, you know, maintaining more water quality near the reef waters. Then providing alternate occupation. See, in this Great Barrier Reef regions, like many people, they are actually dependent on the Great Barrier Reef as their occupation, cultivating the corals as well as like tourism and things like that. Okay, so all of a sudden we cannot tell them, you know, to stop, you know, using the coral reef. So if we can provide alternate occupation for these people, what happens is that, I mean like we can reduce the pressure on coral reef. Then afforestation. This is actually like this will reduce the surface runoff and take care of those kind of things, as well as like combating climate change. The afforestation is important. I mean like you need not bring everything into your answer, like which are the important solutions, I mean like which are the important causes you are writing. You have to mention the solutions in that aspect, right? Whichever solutions you can combine it and write in the answer. And concluding a topic like this, I mean like where this coral bleaching or corals dying off is there, we have already brought up these causes, we have seen the solutions. Now, writing a conclusion, you have to bring up the aspect like what is the importance of maintaining Great Barrier Reef. Okay, and if we take these solutions, what will be the future benefits? So most of the topics, especially related with the, like geography, your conclusion part should be in the sense like, you should conclude by saying the importance of that topic. Okay, in this case, it's coral reef, right? Why? What is the importance of maintaining GBR? First one, it buffers the shoreline against like waves, storms, and other cyclone activities. And then climate change. If you are having coral reef, they will recycle more carbon dioxide. They will absorb more carbon dioxide, reducing global warming. So it's very important from that aspect. In order to combat climate change, we should maintain our reef. Not only in the case of GBR, like the coral reef throughout the world is actually seeing this sustained coral bleaching as well as dying off. So it's very important to maintain them because they help us to combat climate change. As well as like these coral reef regions, they are actually one of the having very biodiversity rich regions. They provide shelter as well as nourishment to wide variety of marine flora and fauna. So it's from that angle, like environment angle, in order to protect the biodiversity, it's necessary to maintain the GBR. Then these global Great Barrier Reef accounts to 12% of the marine fish catch. Not only the Great Barrier Reef, again other coral reef regions also, like since they are biodiverse rich regions, they are actually like they contribute to the economy through marine fish catches. And another very important aspect, a coral reef or a barrier reef like Great Barrier Reef, it will take a lot of time to form. Okay, so if with sustained coral bleaching, if they are dying off, it means like it will take a very long time for them to regain their previous shape, or like they will go extinct. Okay, so like since it's taking so much time to form, it's really important to maintain them in the sense like maintain an environment which is conducive for them to thrive. Okay, so you can you can conclude by saying these as well. Like again, you need not bring everything into your answer. Like according to the flow of your answer, use which aspect you need to conclude with. One I suggest here is the biodiversity rich regions, as well as like they will be taking long time to form. That is necessary why this is why they should be protected.